Ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
This is Rangru. Hello, hello, hello.
And folks, we are back to the second match of monthly Tourney coverage. Today on Shchedrin, who do we have, sir?
On left-hand side in the blue, we have Shkodder playing as SS with a Maverick income. Right-hand side in the red, we have Finzent playing as second guard tank core, also with a Maverick income.
You know, it's a piece of me that wants a Ju-88 just to be flying circles around the biplanes.
Oh, yes.
That'd be great. Just have this, the turrets just be trying to shoot him down, but I don't think that'll ever happen, unfortunately.
Unfortunately not. He's just getting a lot of reconnaissance spotting up north. Also as well, yeah, Finzent open up with 2 U-2s, so a bit slower compared to a more modern U-2 aircraft. But still enough to spot the ground targets.
But up to the northern side, the same way on Tuesday we saw a rather unique opening. Today we're seeing the 2nd SS Panzer over here just absolutely crushing with these light vehicle openings. I love them for this.
Yeah, the 2-3 runs is going full hog right down the middle of the lungs. The 2-3-3s and MG-42s providing very adequate fire support. Finzent doesn't have a whole lot of long-range anti-tank, just that one T-34, so he's really going to have to make it count.
True. The 231s honestly can just be continue to engage all these light anti-tank positions because there's not a whole lot here in A otherwise. Unfortunately, the 231 decides that the meaty flesh bags are more important to shoot at than the big killy thing.
Yeah,
it pays for it right there.
The big killy thing is getting pretty killy.
That's 2 down. That is 2 down. Southern side, we see the usual just split between the two kinds of groups here in that town. I think the major fight's going to happen in the lungs in that northern forest. I feel like the lungs and the head of that forest, that's where everything's going to be happening today.
Yeah, and that's a very good push there from Finzent getting into the opposing lung. He has a decent amount of forces, yeah, mainly just 2-man flamethrower teams, but at long range against fanatical Panzer Grenadiers of the Hitler Youth, they're not going to be performing all that well. You can need to get a little bit closer to use a flamethrower.
Yeah, it's a brave thing to go up against Death's Head troops with something that can only fire, under 100 meters. Not wonderful, that's for sure.
Yeah. But not smart at long range. And also seeing actually Shkodder bringing in flamethrower half-tracks, some of my favourite units in the game. Actually, could work very well here in the lungs. There's not a whole lot of AT from Finzent.
Even more so, if I want to see him go down to the south, there's actually 2 in the town. Unfortunately, there's also a PTRS squad just right there, as well as Vazvedkas, as well as Guard DPs. So, love Flame Panzers. I don't think it's going to be the greatest, most viable, important thing for us to be seeing. But it's still fun nonetheless, I will say that.
Yes. They just burn things.
Absolutely.
With flames. That's how they burn it.
Well, it's like Trogdor, but just cooler.
The Burninator.
Oh, yeah. Just like the F4, oh my gosh. And the Focke-Wulf 190 coming on in with his HE bomb, absolutely pounding this position.
Yeah, very precise. We're seeing the Yak run coming in, and the Focke-Wulf.
Nah.
Is he trying to go?
Nice.
No.
He's at the mobile wagon right there. That's exactly what you need.
Yeah. Oh no, J188 flying right over the anti-air. Very dangerous. You can definitely see the flak coming towards him. You don't need reconnaissance optics for that.
I'd like to think that he's nearsighted. I think that's my headcanon for it. The same way the headcanon's firing at him. But the mobile wagon, I think, was also trying to go, and he was trying to go and lure the Yak 1 into one more kind of more foolish, intemperate rush.
Yeah. Oh, it does go down. Good kill.
The 188? Did I miss the one?
No, Normandy.
No. Oh, the Yak. Okay. I was going to say, I turned around for 1 second. As I looked down to the south, I saw a couple of T-34s being moved into this town. And I feel kind of conflicted on this.
How so? Why
Well,
are you conflicted, Khan?
in the same way that, Flam Panzers in trees should get like an extra buff to actually destroying things, putting tanks in a town, it's kind of like giving a mouse a cookie. If you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to pull a gun on you and take your wallet too. I feel like that's exactly the same thing that happens now for the T-34 side of a town. You can put a tank inside of a town, but then he's going to get hit by some ridiculous kind of like Piat or something that the Germans found lying around in an antique dustbin someplace back in Czechoslovakia. Like, there's a reason you don't put armored vehicles in towns, especially when there's a Panzerfaust here. I don't know.
What type of mice do you get in New Jersey, man? That must be pretty scary.
It's an American thing. I wish I could explain it immediately. But yeah, they're rough, man. Especially if you go to like Camden or like Jersey City, and that's a joke for the 5 people out there who know what those areas are like. But yeah, it's just like you don't go and you stop putting your armored vehicles into towns. They don't belong there.
Just keep it a little bit back.
Exactly. Yeah, I realize now that metaphor started coming out, I could feel your kind of unease because like in Canada, it's like they're much more polite there, aren't they, mice?
Mm-hmm. They say sorry first before shooting you.
It's kind of nice to see that.
Yeah.
Flampanzer down to the southern side. There were 2 of them. Now one of them is kind of the world's biggest bonfire.
Yep. Devka's coming in. Honestly, it's going to be a good push here from Finzent down south if he actually realizes there's not a whole lot of forces here, but of course the Fog of War is quite strong, and that one Panzer Grenadier will be holding the line.
Not for long. He's got the U2 coming back in, and there's no anti-air to really make this an impossible thing to scout. I mean, this is going to be very, very bad very, very quickly, because that Fog of War, well, that curtain's getting pulled back right about now. Yeah.
And hopefully Finzent will push, because he can very easily get 2 flags here, which will actually flip the point bleed to his advantage.
Assuming he gives those orders? He hasn't given those orders yet. I think he's a little concerned to the northern side, and I can't blame him too much.
Yeah, it's a lot of Panzer IVs, Pak 40s, the 233s here. Finzent does have the head position up north, and an SU-85, but he's going to run right into a Panzerfaust if he goes any further.
Yeah, and he's going to go further. Shockingly enough, he's actually not going to have... Huh. I was lucky.
Cat backs off in the nick of time, but the Panzer Grenadiers are making it so. The Panzer IVs and 233s provide an adequate fire support, and Finzent's pretty much just going to be relegated to stay in the forest, because if he pokes his head out, he's going to have a bad time.
And oddly doubly so, it's actually a bigger loss to be losing this officer up here. I know we don't really talk about it as much as often as we should, but officers do give you a lot more staying power, and when you're fighting against, let's say, motivated troops, to put it mildly, you cannot give up any kind of dumb surrenders.
Yeah, like in fights like this where your units are very concentrated, you really want to be taking advantage of the leader for the extra veterancy bonus. It improves your firepower tremendously.
Yes. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
What was I seeing over here? We have more guard squads moved on in. Oh yeah, T-34-85 is flirting with a P4, throwing iron cigars back and forth. It's kind of like a weird humidor going from the lungs up to the head there. And not getting any kills necessarily, but I will say that discouragement fire is very, very important.
Yeah, just forcing them back a little bit, not allowing them to really get a good control in the central northern position here, and buying Finzent time to bring in more reinforcements like the mortar bike and more infantry. Really, just Shkodder needs a good off-map artillery strike up north, and you can very easily clear that hill.
By the same token, though, because we're going into Phase B here in just a second, if the Würfelraum comes in the other direction, that actually could be very, very poor for the Soviets, because the Soviets can go and, well, get pounded. It's going to go to Pound Town, and it ain't going to be a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just very concentrated, that force. And down south, we still haven't seen a push here from Finzent, unfortunately for him. He's really just missing out on a very good opportunity. Yes. He did have the recon plane spot, but, yeah, a shame.
A shame indeed. Very, very collected material there. Now, one thing that we actually probably should be seeing a little more of over here from the whole Hitlerjugend is these light vehicles after that opening shove, which were just really, really quite solid. It's been a lot of kind of tentative behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And I can kind of understand that. I know, I get it. He's got 50 squads of infantry at the absolute most. He's worried about losing stuff that's very, very vital to him. But I feel like there's a giant missed opportunity here.
Yeah, both sides have actually been pretty timid in this later raid phase, not really making any crazy pushes. We're seeing Shkodder actually do a very good bombing run down south. Gonna be forcing Finzent to fall back off the hill temporarily, and he is bringing in reinforcements to try and clear up that forest. So yeah, that's gonna give Shkodder a very good position on the lung.
Sure. I will have to acknowledge that. That's fair. In the meantime, T-34 continues to be engaged by 4 or 5 different sources of fire, and watch him as he continues to kind of calmly pick them off one by... Oh, never mind. There we go. You know, if I was really trying to champion one side or the other so much earlier, I imagine I could have been like, yeah, watch as he takes out everybody and have him die in the next shot. And we are actually going to see a big pusher to the south. We have 2 squads of Tankovy Maverick being brought on in, which I kind of like quite a bit.
Yeah, if he can just rush on through, I mean, just have one unload near the front line by the flag, and then just have the other one do some deep penetration. I mean, it's risky, of course, but of course with God Fury, you can see not a whole lot to stomp him. Just a 2-3-3 and some Panzer Grenadiers.
Well, the thing too is actually seeing it right now. Tankovy Maverick do have enough durability. They can take an awful lot of firepower here, kind of unlike a lot of the other material. And with all of that fanatical infantry, and very well-armed fanatical infantry at that, it's not really a particularly successful winning aspect here. You can see it happening right now, actually, in the lungs, as Ogdamachiki after Ogdamachiki after Ogdamachiki goes down.
Yeah, but the one does manage to hold the line. The lone angry Soviet with the flamethrower, forcing back the Pioneers, so he's probably going to push a little bit too far and then get burned himself.
It's entirely possible. You know, it continues to be curious here. We have these weird 3 or 4 on 1 positions here, where it's the Germans with the outnumbering kind of opportunity, taking out T-34-85s, taking out T-34-76s, taking out just armored fighting vehicle after armor fighting vehicle. And it's weird to see the Soviets be the ones who are losing to what amounts to human wave attacks.
Yeah, Shkodder just has a very good tank force, or just firepower really up north in general. He's managed to keep a lot of his vehicles alive. He now has good artillery with the Verfammen and 251/2. He just has good concentrated firepower, while Finzent has them a little bit more spread out. I also think it's also just kind of the problem with Second Guard Tank Corps. I don't see it as much because T-34-85s aren't that great. They're just a bit too expensive for what they are.
True. And we can see right now, even if the southern town flag gets dropped, the lungs are very much in German control, and I think we're going to see a shove across the old sternum there.
Yep, and all up north of Verfammen getting fantastic hits on the hill. We're seeing the mortar open up. I think Shkodder's going to soften it up a bit more before committing all the infantry.
Yep. Well, the P4's going down. That's a bit of an issue there.
Yeah.
But he's got enough, I would argue, not light material per se, but he's got enough just infantry.
He didn't fire all his Verfammen rockets with the first barrage because he saved a few to try and kill the anti-air in the rear. I quite like that.
So do I. Of course, now that the motorbikes are trying desperately to find and engage him, and that being open-topped, all it takes is one unlucky hit, which happens, well, a lot more often than you would think luck would have it happen.
Yep. No, a Panther Fuhrer as well. Some rather heavy firepower up north now. We are seeing the Panzer Grenadiers make a push up the hill. The S-35 getting pinned down by the 2-3 run. And just, yeah, all the Soviets are completely, demoralized due to the artillery fire, so they are not going to be all that effective.
No, they are not. And the funny thing is, actually, we're seeing the wet noodle contest that happens between machine guns, or at least it was a little bit for that. We had Maxims, we had SG-43s. ISU 152 going down. That's actually quite a big kill, as more and more equipment straggles across this northern central position. You can see there's quite a proboscis over here, kind of going into the Soviet side of the lungs. Down to the south, are we seeing any kind of rolling attack here? Well, Flak 36 is going to go down, but I think there might be just enough being brought in to kind of stem that tide.
And those the Panzer IV at long range can actually do quite a number on the T-34, yeah. I mean, Finzent can potentially get 1 to 2 flags down south. That's really his best potential. While up north, I mean, yeah, Shkodder can get potentially 2 more flags, but he just has a very good momentum up north, and in Shkodder's case. That is, he has a lot of units, he's been trading very efficiently. I mean, Finzent is bringing in reinforcements, but it's a bit sporadic and all over the place. And he just doesn't have enough against just his concentrated firepower, which Shkodder is bringing to the table.
Of course, when there's friendly fire like that Gorilla who just 86'd a fanatical squad, a bit of a problem. But here we go. We have a charge back up onto that hillside. The first test of now the German defenses here. And if they hold, it'll be impressive. I don't know how easy it's going to be for them.
Yeah, we got the 2-3-1 still alive. Of course, an anti-tank grenade can change that quite quickly. It's just to be about whether the Panzer Grenadiers can hold, and if they cut them in the open, use their machine guns, those MG42s, as you see, are quite deadly.
But so is 10 Papa Shahs being brought on in.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
always the fun dynamic using the Avtomachikis versus Panzer Grenadiers. You get within that 100-meter range, you win. You get shot before that, you're dead immediately. Very dangerous game of cat and mouse.
Exactly. Exactly. By the same token, I'm waiting for the Verframen to unleash its next little bit of, hi there, how do you do?
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't done it quite yet. We'll see how that kind of works out.
But yeah, it's actually a trove. I think just a southern push here from Finzent is definitely keeping him in the game. But yeah, we go 13-11 now. I mean, Shkodder's just pushing extremely hard up north. Even got the Boy the Firefly coming in to provide some fire support. Actually, southern fire support, I quite like that position.
With the Boy the Firefly, you mean?
Yeah, he's shooting into the anti-aircraft unit in the rear of the town. Which
exactly.
Is an incredibly long shot, but that's what you get when you have a 17-pounder used by a German against Russians.
Well, one more shot should finish us off.
Yeah.
And does.
On an American tank, it's quite multicultural.
And that's what you want in a globalized conflict, is you want everybody to have their hand in that bloody cookie jar.
Yes.
Southern side town is in Soviet control. Not going to be supremely aggressive over here, which I think is a bit of a mistake. Yes, I'm aware of the fact that you will only take one more flag here. But if you had momentum in the first place, and you know the infantry-based AT is just annoying enough to make it worthwhile, then be aggressive. Attack. But, hey, again, I'm old school, what do I know? So...
Yeah, Finzent's is in a pretty tough position. He has managed to stabilize a little bit in the center and north. I mean, he does have half of his lung under control. His GQC infantry is quite deadly, and that's going to deter Shkodder from pushing up too much. But Shkodder's just sitting on, a nice 13-11. He's not trying to, push through Maverick style and get a +2. He's very content in just biting and holding and just slowly draining down Finzent's points.
Well, especially when he has things like this guard squad who's pinned down to the northern side, and he's got one infantry kind of backing that up. I do want to make a quick call out. So 233 on the road behind enemy lines, and I want him desperately to wait until that T-30-45 crosses. Or right now. Now.
Shoot.
Now is your time.
Shoot!
For the love of God, fire.
Shoot.
Or not. That's fine too. It's cool.
Oh, what a shame.
Boy the Firefly, I think, is moving up to kind of say hello to his new dance partner. And
I heard you were coming.
Oof. He didn't get a crit on that, which is kind of weird. It kind of felt like that should be a crit, just the way the flame shot out from the lower side of that tank.
That was definitely a crit.
Oh, very much. And that's kind of what's going on here consistently, is all of the Soviet vehicles, all the Soviet everything, just kind of calmly gets countered. Not even like a barrage one way or the other. It's just slight counter. Okay. Oh, you're here. Isn't that wonderful? Counter.
Yeah, the T-34s are just not performing that well. Once again, like, T-34-76 is good in CQC and can perform quite well, but at long range, when you're forced to use T-30-45s, they're just not cost efficient against Panzer IVs and Pak-40s.
Nope, they are not. And now we're starting to see, I think, donated infantry over here towards that northern hillside. Yes, the 25 mil is going to be able to get maybe a couple rounds off before he goes down, but that extra suppression that he takes is just not enough.
Yeah, and that one Ramming rocket landed decently, not great, but decently.
But it doesn't need to land perfectly. It truly doesn't. You see this Tanko Thessaloniki squad's going to drop out and get immediately taken under fire and just pounded.
Yeah.
There we go.
Wait, it was a Tanko Thessaloniki squad? I blinked.
Well, it was. Now it's actually human Swiss cheese, which is quite impressive to go from Russian to human Swiss cheese that quickly.
Yeah.
The paperwork is supposed to take you 6 to 8 months, not 6 to 8 seconds. But yeah, the second squad goes in, gets immediately pounded as well. And what's left here? We got what? Half a squad after 5 seconds of combat.
Yeah, he really needs a bit more backup firepower if he wants to try and push into that hill, because his infantry is getting shredded.
Well, and now the 233 down here to the middle position really should be able to take out all those Automachiki squads, but he's still not going to fire. I think it's very, very kind of him to let troops kind of go through. And yes, I'm aware of the fact he's getting more intelligence out of here as opposed to maybe get a couple of quick kills. But I still feel like he's missing something. There's an opportunity here, and he's not quite necessarily making the most of it. But hey, it happens sometimes.
Yeah, he definitely has patience, because I would just be shooting everything from our position. I'd be like, oh yeah, I can cheese the supply line. But he's thinking, I think he's like legit using it for just reconnaissance, which is weird. You know, using the recon vehicle for actually reconnaissance rather than trying to cheese the enemy rear line.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's like that's what you're supposed to do with it?
Well, I buy all the 2-3 runs in A phase, fast move them down the road. And if I don't kill half the enemy force at the start, I just crit out.
Yeah, it's good to know that the teachings of Gonzo are still alive and well. I still miss the L6 rush. I loved that thing.
Best part of ST-44.
Yes, the Italian L6 rush. PE2 is going to just absolutely destroy this boy to Firefly by dropping 1,000 pounds of explosives on it. Or not. Mobilvac.
No, he dropped some.
Oh, did he?
Yep.
Oh, yep, there you go. Huh.
Pretty anticlimactic.
Yeah, I imagine he was expecting something very, very different there.
And a good amount of anti-aircraft fire is enough to force that PE2 to no longer fly.
I'm not going to say it's impressive that you can fly without having any more wings, but I think it's more of like it's impressive you can kind of fall with style.
Yeah.
Almost as impressive as having a battery of MG42s firing on Tanko Thessaloniki's who peek their head out of the lung.
Or a Flampanzer 2.5 run actually running out of ammo. Which is, I mean, they usually are dead by this point.
Usually they're dead when they have full ammo, let alone no ammo. But you're right. I mean, Automachikis, again, looking at the Russian equipment, the Russian infantry decisions over here from Phase B, I can't help but wonder if autos and tankos really have had their moment in the sun, where you bring one card and that's it. Especially on a more open map that has such crazy distances like this to kind of get around to a lot of the major positions.
His main problem, he just doesn't have the fire support to back him up. Because they're good if you have, like infantry support guns and artillery and smoke, backing you up, allowing you to get into position, but just unsupported, especially against Shkodder, who has a lot of fire support, like a battery of MG42s. He just can't move them up anywhere because they just get machine gunned down immediately.
What we're seeing instead is that every single time he's putting tankos and autos to the north, I feel like they should have been going down here to the south. Which is to say, if you have close-in fighting, put them where you need to be having close-in fighting.
Yeah.
Now, let me not be misunderstood to say that the southern push over here is doomed to failure, because it's not. Just guard squads and superiors are just strong, regardless of the positioning, I would argue. What we're missing here, though, is that very, very solid assault troop with that Molotov, which it's not going to happen when they get on a consistency.
I like how it's one BA-10 is just systematically destroying all the flank panzers down south. And yeah, honestly, for Finzent, like, a southern push would be his best bet. I mean, it'd be hard to push any further, especially getting to like a farm complex. Like, that's a very hard flag, but I just don't see him breaking up north. It is... The Germans are dug in way too deep.
Yeah, and what's more, too, is that the German war machine really could just kind of sweep on through if they felt the burning compulsion to.
Oh, yeah.
I just feel like, for the most part, Shkodder just is kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to worry more about the southern side here. As opposed, I would argue, just kind of saying, screw it, hold the farm, and that's it.
Yeah. I think he just wants to, of course, keep the high ground up north instead of having to go downhill.
Yeah, but if you can pick up some cheeky kills, there's nothing wrong with that. Anyway. Mortar bikes are going to get refilled. Verframen is completely refilled. So I think the second that those mortar bikes start to open up, we're going to see a very, very quick Verframen assault.
The 233 actually decided to open fire and killed, I believe, a Tanko Disney ET squad. So he is actually getting a little bit more offensive here, which is good to see. And Finzent's pushed down. He's picking off all the Panzer Grenadiers, beating them at long range because he actually has fire support backing him up, thanks to the BA-10s. I wonder if he'll actually try to push heavy down south or just control the edge of the town.
Probably the best thing for him would just be to try to control the edge of town and just leave it that way.
But he still needs to pick up a few more flags.
Yeah.
That's his main problem.
Yeah, but if you pick up the town at that point, you extend your line either A, to the northeast, back to pick up this random piece of territory that's been seized, and then you can extend it to the northwest as well. Somehow the 233 misses a truck that is a few hundred meters away.
And does it again.
Yeah, I mean, that's impressive. You gotta work hard at that.
Now the T-34's gonna come in and say hello.
Jeez, yeah, that half-track did not deserve... He did not deserve life.
Yeah, and Shkodder clearing through the forest with the flank pan is actually working quite well in this scenario. I'm quite happy to see it's actually living up to its name.
Yeah, it's flamming in a positive way as opposed to just kind of flamming out within the first 5 seconds. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Just like now, the Pak-40 picks off a mortar bike, and that is not what you want to be seeing.
No. Not a good position at all, and we're seeing once again the small continual pushes far north from Finzent. But this is way too dug in. Yeah, Pak-40 again, a great hit on the T-34 commander.
Yeah, I kind of get the feeling here that Zweidlinga, is really making a name for himself. Got a mortar bike already. I think he's going to pick up a brace with this. No, somehow he is not able to kill it, and Finzent taps out, and I actually kind of agree with this one.
Yeah, damn. Well, yeah, the KD definitely speaks volumes, yeah. But Shkodder just played very well up north, and just good use of firepower. I mean, the second guard tank corps is It's not a great division, like I said, T-34-85s are just kind of trash, and you don't have enough good infantry or cheaper fire support to really back you up, and I think match really showcases that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, we had one BA-10 that was very, very good. Let's remind ourselves that a BA-10 is worth 25 points. And what did we get? Well, he got 1, 2, 3 half-tracks, a light vehicle, and a P4.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
And
now,
losses...
And here's where it gets to play a little bit dumber. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, Han's doing very well for himself.
Yeah.
Classic name.
2 hands way up for that guy. The Panther D paid himself off, but it wasn't great. Pack 40 over here, Deckard. A couple of BA-10s. Picked up a couple of major tank units. But other than that, I mean, I feel like the biggest thing that was very, very successful was using those light vehicles to kind of really bite and hold as we're always talking about.
Yeah, and that opener definitely worked out quite well as he managed to pretty much zone out the the plateau area of the map and then push up north and clear up the hill eventually with good use of artillery.
Exactly. But any final thoughts there, sir?
No.
Well, folks, in that case, then, I guess that's all we really have for today.
Indeed.
Until next time, I'm Con Ulrich.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.